I've been diving 28, 30 years. A few months ago, fortunately this spring, I was going through YouTube and came across the PolkaDotPerch, checked out the site, and lo and behold, there's a young lady feeding, I think they're a rainbow or steelhead trout in the mouth of the river. And I watched it, I was just like, that is so cool to interact with the fish. So I seen where she was using the shrimp, so I got some shrimp, and my favorite little dive hole, I started offering hors d'oeuvres to the fish. And it took a while. One or two would come in, take a little nibble and skirt off, and after about 7 or 8 weeks, they were happy to see me. They'd come out, gather up around me, wait for me to reach in the goodie bag, and this year I've had more fun diving, feeding fish, than I have exploring any old big rust bucket on the bottom of the lake or the rivers. This is addressed primarily to divers. If you have the opportunity to do this, you need to, because you're going to find that so many of these fish, just like people, have personalities, and they'll get to know you, and their characteristics are just hilarious. Now, perch are a pretty skittish fish, and they come in now and they're trying to eat the strings off my hood, strings off my gloves. They pecking on my mask, and they just swirl about you, have them land in your hand and sitting on you. And like I said, this has been the most beneficial year of diving since I started feeding fish, because number one, you don't need visibility. And number two, this is going to sound goofy, but the relationship you build with these guys is something else. There's one fish you may see in the video. He's running around. He's got a stringer or a line hanging out of his mouth. He's been doing really well, watching him grow. So we know the hook's not interfering with his eating, but he's one of the ones that are a little more timid. It's just amazing to be able to interact with them and have them follow you around, and to me it's just a blessing from God. Go out there. My average dive year is 30, 35. I'm creeping up on 90 because of these darn perch. All I can say is feeding fish is like playing with a box full of puppies. Once they relax and they get to know you and trust you, they're a riot. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts, some of the things they do. The benefits from this is not only having an extremely happy heart. I've got a couple of serious heart conditions, and last year I got in 10 dives. So this year, teetering on 87 dives so far. They've taken me off 2 heart medications. My blood pressure is spot on, and my pulse is actually someplace where it needs to be. And I attribute all of this to cuddling with the fish, because like I said, you can't play with a box full of puppies and not be happy. Well, one other thing that's really cool is as you're feeding the perch, other species come in to see what's going on. And we've had smallmouth bass come in, which I've named Darth Vader because they scare all the little guys away. We've got a couple of little rainbow trout, maybe 10 inches that are just zipping in and out all around. I did have a good friend I named Bob, the sheephead. He used to follow us around. Unfortunately, I should have never named him. I seen him on a stringer. Bob was a big, powerful fish, and I found it really unusual that when I would get in the water, divers know how bass will follow you looking for a handout or for you to disturb things. Bob was the same way. I'd get in the water, and before a bass would come up to me, Bob would be there. So it was pretty cool until I seen him on that stringer. I'll see some of his kids next year, I would imagine. So there'll always be another Bob. Until you try it, you won't get it. You have to do this. take a half dozen shrimp with you every dive, and take the opportunity to just slow down, get in a weed bed, and put it out there. Somebody will come by and nibble. If they don't that time, try it again. Sum it up. You need to try it. You need to be patient. And before you know it, you'll have a reason to dive every day. You need to go to PolkaDotPerch. You need to watch these videos and get some inspiration. Move forward. Don't just look for a jar or a bottle. Look for the little creatures you're sharing the river with. Try to be a benefactor. They've got it pretty tough out there. They don't have anybody looking out for them. Again, this all goes back to the PolkaDotPerch and some of their inspirational films that they do, because you get to see so much of what is going on in the river. And I can't thank them enough for opening this door for me.